Yo, what up, exiles? It's me again. Um, yeah, I thought I'd make an update video about POE2, about what I've been doing, how I've been enjoying the game so far. Giving like a little bit of feedback about the game, talking about the character that I'm playing, you know, stuff like that. So maybe let's just start with the character I'm currently playing. As you can see, I'm a little ranger, a Deadshot Ranger. Now, as uh, as mentioned in my previous video, I'm not playing any build guides or stuff like that. I'm currently just winging it, basically, just looking at abilities and looking if they are fun or not, if I enjoy playing them, and then I'm trying to build around that. Now, this is not my first character. In fact, this is like my third. My furthest character was a sorceress around level 45-ish, 48. This one is now level 35. Um, yeah, I gave up on that character. I just couldn't get her to work. I wasn't able to do the second trial to ascend. Um, I also wasn't able to get along further in the campaign. I played like a lightning sword, and yeah, I was really frustrated. It was my first character. It had like so many deaths, like around I believe 200. I'm currently now at like 65, 70-ish hours of playtime, and on this character I'm at around 18, 17, 48, something like that. And I am now at the beginning of Act 3. So, about 8 hours per act. Which, given that this is like a 6-act game, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't feel great. Um, I haven't been dying nearly as much with this character, especially since like the end of like Act 1. I've been able to one-shot the last boss of Act 1 and every boss after that, pretty much until like Jamenda, or what's like the first time you encounter um, the end boss of Act 2. By the way, spoilers, little spoilers alert. And yeah, most bosses after that I took down in like maximum 2 to 3 tries, including the end boss of Act 2. So, um, like this character is definitely capable of doing stuff like that, even though its damage isn't great, but it's also quite tanky, and it's really hard to die on it. So yeah, but still, I feel like the pacing of the campaign is way too slow. Um, let's say second half of Act 2 onwards, the maps get really big. Um, for instance, there's this map. Let me pull up this world map. Go to Act 2. This one here, the Shah, especially the spires of the Shah, but pretty much every map in here is fucking horrible. The Dreadnought is probably the worst map in the game. Like, both of these are unbearable. Like, holy shit, please do something about it. Like, you have a big map with tiny corridors. When you respawn all the way at the beginning of the map, and the mobs respawn with you, and they have collision. So they once they surround you, and it's very easy to get surrounded on that map. Believe me. Yeah, it's pretty bad, and the maps are getting from experience. I can tell they're only getting worse in Act 3. Like the whole Utsal map and the palaces and all the ziggurats. It's so big and so hard to navigate, and you get lost all the time. I've literally spent like 30 minutes to an hour in just one map trying to get around. Especially when you're on the weak character and you die a lot. It's like pretty much you can't chip away at the map, right? Because you die a lot and then you have to start over, right? And mobs respawn. Yeah, it's tough. It's really, really tough. Um, so yeah, let's first go into my character here. So as you can see, it's a 35 dead eye. I'm currently at 650 life, 91 energy shield. I have a bunch of evasion, tiny bit of armor. Resources are actually looking fine, except for that I have no chaos. Chaos resistance, sorry, which might become a problem soon here in Act 3. Then for the gems, I'm playing the abilities and of course using a bow. I've just been playing around with rain of arrows a bit, getting some cold damage out of it. Sniper's mark I'm not really using. I've been playing around with that a bit. I might try that with cast on shock, which I will unlock in one level. So I'm going to play around with that a bit to see if it can actually apply Sniper's mark to all the stuff. Then we have escape shot, which is an ability I really like. It's like this backwards flipping ability that freezes stuff. It's really nice to get freeze going and to escape some situations. Then I'm using poison burst arrow, mostly for this corrosion support gem, which breaks down armor, so it adds some damage to my other stuff. Then we are at Stormcaller Arrow, which is currently my main damaging ability. I'm using Martial Tempo, Innovate, and Concentrated Effect on it. I'm not really sure if this is actually any good on this. Yeah. As I've mentioned before, I'm not using any guides. I'm just trying stuff out myself and see what fits. I've been trying using this with like what's it called? The splitting arrow scatter shot, right? Which is nice when you're clearing maps, but in boss fights it's not that great. So yeah, I'm currently trying to figure out a way to like have an ability that is good like against bosses and one for clearing. I'm currently lacking on the clearing side. I think boss damage is alright with this setup. Then we have Herald of Thunder, which does lightning damage on shocked enemies, which is cool. Using this with clarity to have some mana regen. Then I'm using Barrage with Second Wind. Barrage is, yeah, no, it's nice. Gives you a little bit of burst of damage. The problem with the setup that I'm having right now is that all the damage is pretty delayed, right? Because Stormcaller Arrow just doesn't do a lot of upfront damage. It needs a little bit to proc, and then yeah, that can feel a little bit awkward, let's say. Then I'm using Electrocuting Arrow, Scatter Shot. I don't actually know why it's here. It doesn't really do that much, I feel like. This is mostly like for escaping sticky situations. It allows you to vault over enemies, which is pretty cool when you're stuck. It doesn't always work, but it definitely saved me from a couple of dire situations. So this in combination with escape shot makes some really good escape tools. There's a couple of cool escaping tools in the Ranger's arsenal. There's also this ability called like the wind thing. What's it called? No, not this one. I feel like I had this. I've tried this earlier. It's this one, Wind Dancer. Wind Dancer is pretty cool because it like does this big knockback. It's a spirit gem. I've tried Ice Shot. Wasn't a big fan of that. Lightning Arrow I've tried. But what's this one? I forgot how it's called. It's this wind ability that like knocks back enemies. Or maybe I'm confusing this with my monk. Might be actually might be actually what's going on right now. Yeah, yeah. I think that's what's going on. I'm confusing it with this one here, Wind Blast. Yeah, no, never mind. I'm stupid. Sorry about that. Yeah, but that's pretty much my gem setup. Item-wise, I'm actually pretty happy right now. I just found this quiver here, which does some extra damage, but mostly has this +1 level 2 on projectile skills, which is pretty cool, and gain 9 life. I like these gain life or mana affixes pretty much. This is my boot right now, which has a lot of life, which is cool. My belt is, nothing special, just a rare belt. And I have my chest, which is pretty nice. Has some nice resistances, and it adds spirit, which is pretty cool. Then we have this helmet, mostly for the life. Accuracy rating, I actually don't understand how this works. Apparently it makes you hit more, but can't really find anything on my character sheet about that, so. Then we have like 2 very basic rings, which have a lot of resistances, some life, some evasion rating. This amulet is pretty bad, to be honest. And then we have these gloves, which I just looted, which I really like. So we have life, we have mana, fire resistance, and then we have these leech. Leech thingies, which are pretty cool. And I just looted a belt. Let's see how good this is. 32 life, mana, strength. That's pretty cool. Life and mana on belt. Doesn't have resistances, but that's not too shabby. And then I have this charm, which is currently granting immunity to freeze, which I think, generally speaking, is a very annoying thing to happen. So that's why I have not taken it. And last but not least, we're going over our passive tree. Now, as I said, I'm playing Deadeye. Now I'm currently trying this Gathering Wind stuff, which gives you Tailwind, which means you get like a stacking buff when you use abilities that gives you movement speed, attack speed, and some evasion rating, which will get me to over 70% evasion rating, which is probably one of the reasons why this character is quite tanky. As you can see, I've invested a lot in like evasion rating. There's more evasion rating. Got some int here. Even more movement speed and evasion rating. I really like movement speed and evasion rating. Then I went up here to get some elemental damage and shock stuff. We have increased shock chance. We have this increased damage for each elemental ailment. And then we have this increased freeze build up. And that's the reason why I'm playing like these frost abilities as well, alongside my shocking stuff, right? Like this. And then I decided to stop going further up here and instead move along here. There's a jewel, which gives me a little bit of crit, nothing too fancy. Took a little bit of increased projectile damage. I'm not using Pierce or Chain right now, and I don't think Fork is actually currently available in the game. At least I don't know how you would get it. There's no Fork support, and I'm not sure if there's anything else you can do to get Fork, so that's why I'm only using these 2 right now. If I would ever play something with Pierce, I might go into this, but actually using Pierce on our Stormcaller arrow feels really bad. I would not recommend that. I've tried it, of course. Then we have taken some dexterity and even more evasion rating. So this tree currently is like, I would say like 2/3 defensive stuff and a little bit of damage over here. I'm currently looking to go down here. Into these arrow bow points, which give us attack speed, critical hit, maybe something like that. Not sure. Maybe only these few. And then I want to get up here. I think that's pretty cool. But I will be going mostly through here, I believe, because I want to also take these here. This is pretty cool, like more movement speed and projectile speed and projectile damage. I like movement speed. Movement speed is so cool. Yeah, and when I've taken all these points, I'm probably going to be around level 50 or so, maybe even higher. So I don't really have any plans after that. We'll have to see. For my next ascendancy points, I'm not sure which I actually like. I think this one could be pretty cool. No accuracy penalty at distance. As I said, I want to play around with frenzy charges by getting sniper's mark and cast on shock. See how many frenzy charges that actually gives me. I don't think there currently is another way to gain frenzy charges, and I'm also not using much. I don't know. Does Rain of Arrows use frenzy charges? Yes, it does. So that could be nice. And I believe Barrage also uses frenzy charges to do more damage. And right now, I only think Sniper's Mark is the way to actually get frenzy charges. But I feel like the playstyle is very tedious if you have to manually mark enemies. So my hope is that cast on shock combined with Sniper's Mark actually generates a lot of frenzy charges for me. Then you could get like, these nodes here. There's some around here, for instance, which give you more frenzy charges. There is some around here. Yeah, this could be very, very cool. I'll keep you posted about that. Now, what do I think about the game in general? I've actually made a long forum post about this, and I'm gonna be honest to you. Let's say GGG releases a big patch, right? Like, let's say they release a new act, and they reset the ladder. If the game would stay in its current state, I would probably not play it again, to be honest. I think it just takes way too much time to get through the acts, and the time investment is mostly through stuff that I don't think is very enjoyable. Like, one thing being the trials, which are super bad. When I did the first trial on my first character, I literally took like 5 hours or so to get through it. I've actually one-shot them, the first trial on this character, which was pretty cool, but man, that is painful and it's not fun. The sanctioned stuff is not fun. Then I tried the trials in Act 3, the ultimatum stuff, and it's even worse. Man, it's so fucking unbalanced. A friend of mine, I think, leveled his character to like, I want to say 48, and still was struggling so hard, and only was able to finish the trial because he got the Chimera boss and cheesed him. It's so painful. Then you have some bosses which are just a little bit too much. Like, for example, I'm currently at this in the no, that's the wrong button. In the jungle, there's this boss Silver Fist. He is a handful. No pun intended. The thing about the boss design in PoE is that it's very inconsistent, it feels like. Especially during Act 1, I feel like it's very well done because it's clearly communicated, okay? There's this like red flash and then it makes the sounds when the boss like does a really strong attack that will kill you if you stand in it right. And then you can just, focus on the boss, look what he's doing, and then react to it. It doesn't mean it's free. You still have to play the mechanics, but it at least grabs your attention, right? And I feel like the further you progress into the campaign, the less this stuff happens. But they still have a lot of abilities that will just they will just one tap you if you get hit by them. And a lot of these abilities have a ton of range. You can't even outrange them. Like Silver Fist has this frontal attack, which easily spans the whole width of the screen, right? So if you stand in, I'm dead. Again, this might be due to a bad character, like maybe I'm too low health, but I don't feel like that being in the third act of a campaign, of a leveling campaign, should be that painful. I feel like I should be able to get through all 6 acts pretty reasonably. And that has been the case with every other ARPG I've ever played. I've played even the POE1 campaign is way easier than what's going on here. But it's been the case with, of course, all the Diablo games. It's been the case with Lost Epoch. You generally get through the campaign rather smoothly, and I feel like here there's so many and it's like you need to be very focused all the time to play this game, which I also like. I'm feeling like I'm not sure if that's really great to play this game for a long time, right? At one point, when I've seen all this stuff for the 5th time, when a league is released or something like that, I wanted to be a little bit more chill, right? I really enjoy the combat. I think the combat is great, but I think it could be a little bit more relaxed, and maybe they should ramp up the difficulty a little bit less over time. Yeah, I'm not sure. There is definitely learning the game is a big factor. I've noticed this myself. As I said, I had over 200 deaths on this character. I still died quite a bit, exactly 50 times. But that's only a quarter, and I've managed to do most of the bosses and stuff like that. I feel like 20 of those deaths were before in Act 1, and since then I mean, it's still a lot. I'm not gonna lie, I'm never going to be able to play this game in hardcore. That's off the table for me. Yeah. Part of this whole discussion is your character progression. I feel like every 2 levels or so, when you progress through the zones, your character feels noticeably weaker, right? You could be 2 tapping stuff in one zone, and then 2 zones further along, you might be struggling, and that basically means that you have to change stuff about your character, right? So you either have to shuffle around some passive points, which fortunately you can do, even though it's expensive, but moving around a handful of points here and there is not going to get you broke. But there's also the stuff about your items. So I feel like you are really incentivized to very often check for gear upgrades, and for my taste a little bit too often, not gonna lie. And then you need to rely a lot on crafting, which I feel like is fine, but then when you don't hit those items at these critical points, you then almost feel incentivized to go to trade. And I'm personally not a big fan of trade in ARPGs, and this game seems to have a heavy emphasis on trade, which is probably one of the reasons I dislike it. And then of course there's the fact that trading in this game, it's just bad. It sucks to I mean, not like that you can't trade, but the way it's implemented, you have to go through an external website, and then you have to whisper people, and then they have to be there, and then they have to react to you, and it's such a I know it feels so fucking clunky and outdated. Just add the functionality to the game itself. I feel like, um, yeah, maybe do the last epoch thing. Maybe do like the what they do with like the prophecy stuff and the market stuff. Allow me to cater my game to be like, okay, I want to play this on my own. That I actually can sustain my own gear. I know there's SFF, but you still have to get the gear somehow. And not so much reliance on trade. I think that's a pretty good system that Last Epoch have. I'm actually astounded by how much innovation this game has in some areas, like the user interface, for instance. It's uh, I don't know if you would show me the screen, and I would I couldn't really tell if it would be POE 1 or 2, because I actually don't even remember how the POE 1 screen looks exactly like. But yeah, I don't like it. I don't like having all this stuff in the corners. I need to keep track of these stacks and shit, and they're all the way down here. It it's not great. There's a console version, and you can actually play this game on a controller on PC, and it actually has the stuff in the middle, and I feel like that's already much better. But yeah, it seems like there hasn't really put that much, if any, work into the user interface, which I think is like the stash and stuff like that. It all looks pretty much the same to me. Yeah, and also like no interfaces for trading and shit like that. No auction house. I think the World of Warcraft auction house, how it's done, is pretty cool. I would like something like this in here, or do the stuff that Last Epoch does. Innovate a little bit more. Yeah, then there is the pacing of the campaign, which I've already mentioned. I think it's just brutal. Like, I can't imagine having to go through this Act 3. I'm already like, ugh, I don't want to do it. It's so bad. These zones are so big, and it's so hard to find stuff, and it almost seems like a little bit of a marketing gotcha. Like, oh, we are going to early access, and this game already has like 30 hours of content, and I'm like, does it actually? Because I'm like running around in circles in maps for 30 minutes. I don't consider that a lot of content, to be honest. This definitely needs to change. Yeah. Overall, I feel like that POE2 has a little bit of an identity crisis. At least as to how it is perceived by its community. I think the community is actually quite split on the game. I'm more of on the side of they should change a lot to make it feel a little bit more like an ARPG for me. Make it a bit. I don't know if they need to make like the combat faster, but make it a little bit more chill. Make the pacing of the campaign, push that up a bit, make it faster. Make bosses not feel so inconsistent. Like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of random bullshit happens in this game that I die to, which I don't have a lot of impact as to avoid them. As long as I don't want to play like super passive and super defensive, which I feel like is just not the way ARPGs are played or should be played. Like, I think you want to blast in an ARPG, right? That's how the kids these days call it. And this is not a game for blasters unless you find like the really super overpowered build, right? Which already exists, right? And there's a lot of people already playing it, and then GGG nerfed the builds, and now people are complaining, right? And I feel like that's already a really bad sign. It's like a big red flag for me that this stuff is already happening. And I feel like an average Joe like me who plays a lot of games and just wants to explore the game on myself, I don't know. English sometimes is hard for me. Gets has a lot harder of a time than they should have. Like, and I really don't see me enjoying this game in the long term. I'm currently sticking with it because I'm feeling like I'm getting better at it, but at the same time, I kind of don't want to play it, which is, yeah, I don't know, not a great sign. But at the same time, I really want to get to the end game and try out all the end game stuff because not a lot of that stuff actually is happening throughout the campaign. It feels like, yeah. I don't know, man. This is a tough cookie to sell. Like people were so excited, me included, and now I'm kind of down on it a little bit. As I said, this is a sequel to Path of Exile, which doesn't feel like it's a sequel to Path of Exile in a way. It feels like it's made for for a specific group of PoE players, maybe, and leaves a lot to be desired for a bunch of people that wanted something else from this game, right? When GTG announced this game, they announced it as like this, expansion to Path of Exile, where they made some crucial changes to the game, right? Updated graphics, and especially the new gem system, which is pretty cool. I think it's a pretty cool system, but it still was going to be and play like Path of Exile, right? And I feel like this game has turned into something that I wouldn't necessarily consider like a true sequel to PoE because it plays so different. It's more like this weird maybe ARPG Souls-like hybrid, which I don't know, it's not the game that I actually want to play, to be honest. I'm not into these kind of games. And when I see a PoE sequel, I want to play a game that plays mostly like PoE, but with some cool changes, like upgraded, like changes to the gem system, like new classes, stuff like that, new campaign, right? Yeah. That's my 2 cents. I'm rambling a bit. I'm sorry about that, but it's really hard to really wrap my head around about what I actually feel about this game. I was not gonna lie, I was feeling very down when I deleted my Sorg about this game and restarted, but now it's picking up a bit because I'm actually getting better now. I'm not sure if that's because of me or because of the class that I'm playing. We'll have to see. I'll post some updates in the future. I hope you're having a great time. Also make sure to check out my loot filter guide that I've made yesterday or the day before. I'm not even sure about that. And I'll see you around next time. Have a good one. Bye.